Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to another video on ALS software engineering program. Today we're looking at a project C function and nested loop. The first thing I want us to do is to look at the resources. The first resources is nested while loop. Second is C function. The next one is learning C programming part 6. Then the next one is what is the purpose of function prototype, and the last one, which is the C header file. For the nested while loop, it goes to a video, but let me just do some demonstration. Okay, if I go to programming, which is the online coding interpreter, and I'm gonna open I just opened the C compiler. So if you look at this is what nested while loop. First of all, what is a while loop, right? So let me just write a small example of a while loop, right? So I can define a function, right? So I can call it an integer. A variable is declared as num what? Num1 and is equal to 10. Right? So we're gonna do a while loop, right? So while num is greater than 0, we want to print the value of num. So print f num is, then we do %d and \n. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, so %d and the value of num. So what we are doing here is, while num is greater than 0, we should continue to print the value of num. Now if we run this program, it will end up in infinite loop because there is no base case. Base case is very important when you are using a while loop. Okay, so for that we need to write our base case. So for every loop, we want to reduce the value of num by 1. So num minus what? 1. So let us run this program and let's see what we'll get. Okay, there is an error because we call this variable num1 and we are using what? Num. So let me remove 1 here and run again. So you can see the first value is what? 10, and it runs all to 1. The reason for that is there is a base case, so it deducts 1 from every value. But if we go to our program, you're actually talking about nested loop. And what is a nested while loop? A nested while loop is a loop in a loop. What did I mean? As in this while loop, here, we also have a child, which is a loop. All right, so let's see that in action. So I'm going to declare another variable. I'll call this num2, and num2 will be equals to what? 10. So I need to define my while loop inside the parent while loop. So sorry, let me make this bigger that we can see. Okay, I think like this is better. Okay, so I'm going to define my while loop inside the parent while loop. So we should have a parent loop and an inner loop. So I'm going to do while num2 is greater than 0, right? So I want to do a print. I want to do a print of the value of num2. Num2 is %d. Sorry about that. It should be %d, then a new line. Okay, then put the value num2. Okay, so we also need a base case for this. So let me just copy this, copying line 13 and paste it in line 18. But we should change it to what? Num2. Okay, so let me just check very well again. So this is the parent loop, and this is what the inner loop. So the condition we are checking here is if the value of num1 is greater than 0, you should continue running this part of the code. In fact, the whole of this part of the code. But if it's 0, it should terminate the loop. So we now have an inner loop which says if the value of num2 is greater than 0, continue to run this line of code. But if it is equal to 0, terminate the loop. So let us run this code and see it in action. Okay, there is I misspelled printf here, so let me just put it printf. Sorry about that. So I'm going to run again. If we look at this, we can see the value of num1 is 10, and num1 only run once. Then after running once, what is the next value we see? Num2. The value of num2 is what? 10. So like I said, we have like a parent loop and an inner loop. So as soon as num1 starts its loop the first time, then num2 will take over. So it runs until it reaches its base case. Okay, so the inner loop runs until it reaches its base case. Then it now go back. The loop now goes back to num1, and num1 continue to run until it reaches its base case. Okay, so that's for that. So the takeaway for here is a nested loop is a loop in a loop. We can also do a for loop in a loop. So this is a while loop in a while loop. A while loop in what? A while loop. So for that, let us go back to our resources. C function. Okay, let me open that in a new tab. So it says a function is a group of statements that perform a task. Every C function has at least one function, which is the main function. It is also called the main method, and the most trivial program can be defined additional function. Okay, so let me just scroll down. Defining a function. When you are defining a function, the first thing you need to write is the return type. After the return type, the next definition is the name of the function. Then the function should have a parameter, but it's not compulsory. Some functions don't have a parameter. So the parameter should also have what? A type, followed by the body of that function. Okay, so make sure you read all of this so that it will give you a proper understanding of what you are going to do in this project. So if we go to the example, you can see a function returning the marks between two numbers. This is the function return type. This is the name of the function, and this is the parameter. It takes two parameters, which is what? A parameter type of an integer, which is a number. This is also a parameter, which is num2. A type is what? An integer. So this is a local variable. This variable scope is within the function. This variable scope result is within the function, and what they are doing here, they're actually checking if num1 is greater than num2 and return what? The result. Or else they set the result to num2 and return the result. Let us copy this and run this in the compiler. So let me open this in a new tab. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so if we look at this, we've copied the function here and we want to invoke this function. Let me remove this hello world. The return type of this function is what? An integer. Is what? An integer. So definitely our result, we can define the result as a what? An integer and call it return marks. Then we call the function. The function name is what? Marks. So this function needs two integer, which is num1 and num2. So my num1, for example, let me make it 2, and my num2, let me make it 5. At the end of getting the result, which is the marks value between both numbers, I want to print the result on the console. So I'm going to do print f, which is marks num or marks number. Marks number is then %d for integer in what? A new line. Okay, so let us run this program and let's see what we'll get. So the marks number is 5. Alright, let me try another value. I'm going to put 7 and I'm going to put -9. So let me run this program. The marks number is what? -9. Okay, why is it showing -9? Sorry, let me quickly debug this and let's see what's going on. Sorry about that. The reason why we actually have -9 is we did not call the value. So we need to call this value here in the printf. So I'm going to run. We can see we get 7. So if I put 2 and 9, we get what? 9. Alright, so that is all about this marks function. Let us go back to our project. So the next thing we want to talk about is prototype. Let me open this in a new tab. What is the purpose of a prototype? This is very important because you are going to cover this a lot in this program. The function prototype serves the following purposes. 1, it tells you the return type of the data that the function will return. Okay. 2, it tells the number of the arguments passed to the function. 3, it tells the data type of each of the passed argument. 4, it also tells the order in which the arguments are passed to the function. Therefore, essentially, the function prototype specifies the input and output interlist to the function, i.e., what to give to the function and what to expect from the function. Alright, so you can actually look down. You can see this function as an example. So if we want to create a prototype for some of these our function, let me go to the code we've written before. So let me say we want to create a prototype for this mass function. What we need to do here is to define the type. So what is the function type? The marks type is what? Integer. That is the return type. Sorry, that is the return type. The return type is what? Integer. And followed by the name of the function. And does it has an argument? Does this require an argument? Yes, it requires an argument, which is an integer of value num1, then a second value which is what, num2. Okay, so this is what a prototype. We have written a prototype for this function here, max. So don't forget, the first value is the return type. The next value is the name of the function and the parameter. So it takes in two parameters, which is of type integer. So I think that is all about prototype. This is very clear about prototype. I think it's very clear. I'm very sure you should be able to explain to anybody now what is a prototype. So let us go back to our resources and let us open the header file in a new tab. Okay, so a header file is a file that has the extension which is .h. It contains the C function declaration and macro definition to be shared between several files. There are two types of header files. One is the standard one, and one is the user-defined header file. So you must have seen this, which is the standard. Let me zoom in a little. Which is what? The standard header file. You need to use include. All right. So both the user and the system header file are included using the processing directive include. Okay, so we need to include what? The header file. You must have seen this in your code. We need to include what? The header file. So basically, how header file works is, maybe you want to actually write your prototype and you want to use that prototype in a different file, just like how we've defined here. You know, since it is here, we can only use it in this code, in this main.c, file. We can't use it somewhere else. So but if you actually put this prototype in your header file, you can use it in multiple files. All you just need to do is to import it into your file, which is your main.c. So another important thing about the header file is header file should only be included once. You should only include it once. If you include it multiple times, it is going to run multiple times. But there is a way to avoid that, right? There is a way you can avoid that. You need to specify a condition for it. So if defined, it is done like this. So you need to include this if defined, right? Then the header file should be defined. All your header file will not be included in this section. So in that case, it will only be used once. So whether the header file is included again, the condition will always be false because the header file is what? Defined. The processor will skip over the entire content of the file and the compiler will not see it twice. So you can also define your header file according to the system, according to different system. So that is all about the header file. Let us go back to our project. So the next thing we want to actually focus on is the learning objective. So at the end of this project, make sure you read all the resources, watch the video, read the document, and make sure you cover everything here. You should be able to explain to anyone without the help of Google. You should also have proper understanding, which is what is a nested loop. We've covered that. And what is a function, and how do you use functions, and also what is the difference between declaration and definition. What is a prototype? The scope of variable, remember the local variable and the global variable. So what are the GCC flag, and what are the header file and how to use them with include. So ensure you cover the requirement as well. This is to avoid you having errors or having some confusion while you are working on the project. So you can see the allow editor is VI, Vim, and Emacs. All your files should be configured on Ubuntu 20.04. Okay, another important thing I want you to take note is this, which is a readme.md file at the root of the folder of the project. So this is also important. So your code should use the Betty style. It will be checked using the Betty style.pl. Okay, you are not allowed to use a global variable. Okay, no more than 5 function per file. All right. So another important thing is you are allowed to use underscore pusher. You don't have to push your pusher, right? So you don't need to push your pusher. They are going to test it with their own pusher. So in the following example, the main.c file which they provided are shown as an example. You can use them to test your file. So I'll prefer testing my file before I push, so that I'll be sure that it is working properly. All right, so copy and plagiarism. So this is very, very important, right? This section is very, very important. So if you copy, right, if you are doing copy and paste, you are going to know that you are doing copy and paste. So what you need to do is to type it yourself. Let us look at the quiz section. So the first question on the quiz is, what is the result of 89 modulus 7? Of course, is what? 5. It's 5. Okay. All right. So okay, the second one says, what is the ASCI value of 5? So you need to check your ASCI table, and what you will see there is what? 53. And the third one says, question number, which is question tag 2, what is the result of 12 modulus 3? Obviously, there is not going to be a remainder, which is what? 0. So if I scroll down, question 4 says, what is the ASCI value of A? That is 92. Check your table and you see it there. What is the ASCI value of capital A? That is what? 65. And what is the result of 12 modulus 10? Obviously 2 will be remainder. 2 will be the remainder. Okay, if I scroll down, so for this, what is the value of AIC value of this? What is the result of 12 modulus 2? There is no remainder. And let me scroll down a little. Okay. Okay, so for this, right? So what we need to do here is, which of these loop statement does not exist? So we don't have for each, and we don't have loop 2. This does not exist. So what is the AICA value of 0? Check your table and you see is what? 48. Okay, that is that. And if I scroll down, so what is the AIC value of G? This is it. Alright guys, so that is all. Next we will look at the tags. Okay guys, so we're going to look at the tag so which is underscore pucha. So it says write a program that prints underscore pucha followed by a new line. The program should return 0. Okay, so and they've already given us how to test the file. This command is what we're going to use to test the file. Okay, so let me log in into my terminal. So what you need to do is to click on the terminal section. That should be here. Okay, so if your terminal is asleep like mine, all you need to do is to click on the wake up and it will load. I think in a few seconds it should be up. So while it's coming up, I'll just open my local terminal and it's up. And all I want to do is copy the SSH, then paste it, SSH to my server, then copy my password, then paste it. Okay, let me expand this so that we'll see. Okay, sorry, it's asking me a question. I should put yes first. Okay, for a known host, then paste my password. This is the root of my project, and you can see I just run pwd and it shows I am currently in the root. So I'm going to list everything I have in the root, and you can see I have some folders in the root. So this is my original project, and this folder called example. This is where I'm going to be doing this tutorial for this project. Let me navigate into my project directory. So I'm going to be using example as my project directory. So if I list what I have in my project directory, you can see I have the folder ALX low level programming. And if you look at our project here, you can see they said it should be in the folder which is the GitHub repo ALX low level programming, and in the folder this is where I'm going to work, which is the OX02 function and nested loop. Alright, so you can see I don't have that. So what did I need to do is to create that folder. Sorry, let me list here. So there should be like a readme.md in the general folder. Let me enter the ALX low level programming. You can see. Okay, so I want to make the directory. I'm going to create a directory and paste what I copied. So I should navigate into the folder which is the OLX02. So you can see the folder should be empty. I just list what we have in the folder now is empty. So the first thing we should do is the prototype. So if you go back up here, let me hide this. If you go back up here, you can see it says the prototype of all the function and prototype or the function pucha should be included in the header file called main.h. Okay, so we need to create the main.h file now. So I'm going to create vim main.h. So if you create the main.h file, you can start putting your prototype here. So you can like copy this. So if you scroll down, this one does not have, I think the first tag does not have a prototype. So if you go down, this is the prototype. So you can copy this. And paste it here. You can do the same for all of them. You can see this has a prototype, this has a prototype. Okay, so you can copy this and paste it here. So you keep on copying all your prototype and put it here, and when you are done, you just quickly press escape and WQ. So you need to check your file, your main.h, if you've done it well. So you can do Betty main.h, and Betty will tell you if you are right or wrong. So you can see mine is actually showing error. So for example, if you are having error, you can see it telling you this line is not protected from double inclusion. Yes, because I didn't include the if define. Okay, so for you to do that, for you to know the exact line you should work on, you can do vim. Then in the vim, you can do escape regular column set numbers, set number. Okay, you can see it has shown number, and then you can work on the particular number you're having issues. So for me, I'm going to write MQ2. I've already defined my prototype. I'm going to copy that and put it here. So let me just remove this main file here. Let me remove this. So let me copy what I have before from my previous folder. It should be ALS low level programming. Then in the OXO2, oh sorry, OXO2, then main.ish. Okay, so if I list it, and you can see this is my main.h file, and you can see what is inside. So you can see I added if here, which is, you can see the warning it was complaining about, the line is not protected. So you can see the line is actually protected here. All right, so let me clear that. So the next thing we want to do is underscore pucha.c. We need that file. Okay, so let me copy that from the previous one I've worked on. So don't worry about this code. You are going to find, I'm going to drop a link to the GitHub on the description, so you can visit there. Remember, do not do copy and paste. You need to type it yourself, and ensure you're typing the right thing. After you're done with the typing, make sure you test what you've typed with Betty, then run the general test on it. If it's successful, then you push to GitHub. So let me put underscore pucha.c. I'm going to copy it here. Then you can check. You can see we have pucha here. So the next thing we want to work on is the 0.c file. So it says write a program that prints underscore pucha followed by a new line. The program should return what 0, and we are going to test the file. Okay, we're going to test the file and make sure we'll get the same result. So if we go back to our code, I've already written that too, so I don't need to type everything again. You can look at the name of the file, which is o-pucha.c. So all I need to do is to copy what I have, which is o-pucha.c, and put it here. So if I do ls, you can see I have the 3 files here, which is the main.h, which contain the prototype. All right, so now let me test this file. To test this file, all I need to do is to copy this GCC and its flags, then copy and paste my console. I'm going to press enter. So it doesn't throw an error. That shows everything is good. However, remember we have 3 files before. If I do list now, you can see we now have 4 files, and if you look at it closely, you will discover there's a file without an extension, which is this. So now we need to test run the file. So if I test run this file, you can see it prints out underscore pucha. So when you're done with this, you need to do your git status. So mine said is not a git repository, sorry, let me just, so I can do git init, then git status, and I can add the file. So if you do git status again, you can see it's not showing green, so you can commit. commit -m function and nested loop. You can write anything you want in your commit message. Okay, so you cannot do git push. So for me, I'm not going to push this. This is just for example. So basically, this is how you should solve the rest of the problem in the project. So I think this is clear enough. Remember, I'm going to put a link to the description to the GitHub repo for the solution to this file. So I'll repeat again, ensure you don't do copy and paste. Make sure you type them yourself. I wish you good luck. Thank you very much. I'll see you in another video.